This is AFTV VIP, the official web app with members-only content, has no ads and a live in-game match centre. The bias predictor, it has daily polls and the AFTV 11 selector. Just one click away.
Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. We've got another live. I said another live. We've actually not done a live for a while. I know Cecil and I are missing it. We did obviously the news shows every morning, but we're doing so much content from the studio at the moment that obviously we're just trying to bring you everything from there, which has been good. I mean, obviously it's been a tough time that the last year, I actually can't believe it's been a year of this pandemic, but it means we've had to do a lot of stuff from home. But the fact that we can do stuff from the studio recently is obviously, well, we hope that you guys are enjoying the content more. I know we're enjoying it as well. But it's good to be back on a live. We're here to chat about Mikel Arteta and the press conference he did today. And I know we've not done one of these lives for a while, but there's a lot to chat about. I think injuries that, in fairness, injuries haven't really been a problem for us for about, I don't know, what, 2-3 months maybe? I know Partey had a few, but really injuries have kind of really gone our way this season. I know we've had them to key players, but on the whole, in terms of quantity, we've not had that many. But then also on the back of, that disgraceful Liverpool performance, we then had the sort of drama of a lot of pundits starting to pick up on perhaps problems at the club that go beyond football, maybe. Who knows? I'm here to sort of chat about all that. I'll take some questions and we'll just try and make this interactive. You know how it is. We're going to try a few different things as well. We're sort of breaking down what was said in the press conference. We'll read some bits out. We'll go into more depth, but others, you know how it works. Well, I say that we haven't done one of these in a while, but yes, if you're new, that's how it works. So let's go through a few comments first. I saw this from Chris Owen. Says, why do we literally leave ourselves with no cover for left back? Yes, Saka can technically play there, but for a big club, that's actually ridiculous. Chris, I completely agree with you, mate. I don't know if when we were doing our ratings on how the January transfer window went, I scored it very highly because we did get a backup goalkeeper and we did manage to bring in Martin Odegaard, who I thought even as a loan was a great signing. And I think that's proven to be the case, really. Even when Matt Ryan had to step up against Villa, I thought he did well. And then obviously all the outgoings were good, but not signing a backup left back was criminal, really. And even when we let Kolasinac go, I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes, and taking that into account, it probably was the right thing to do to let him go. But it did leave us short in that position. I don't really want to be sacrificing Saka from the position on the right, where he's been doing really well, to cover a position that really a club of Arsenal stature should have covered. Chris, you said another thing here, saying you love Kieran Tierney, but he's definitely classed as injury prone at this stage. I think there's a lot. I think he is proving to be quite injury prone. He's a class act. And luckily, a lot of these injuries he's picking up aren't that, what's the word? They're not that long term. We're going to chat about the injury that, has been confirmed today. But the fact that he's still picking up even niggly ones, couple of weeks here, a month there, that's a real shame because he's so important to us. So, yeah, he's definitely proven to be a bit of an injury-prone player, but that's not his fault, and that's not the Arsenal medical team's fault either. Some players just are more injury-prone than others. Let's go to a few other things just before we go into it. Tira says, win Europa and successful season. I completely agree with that. If you win the Europa League, it's a successful season. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't problems at the club. It doesn't mean that the team's got a long way to go. But silverware, I think, ultimately, is basically what everyone wants to achieve, really. We talked about Man United last season getting into the top four, and Arsenal and Man United they've grown very well under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Don't get me wrong, when they got to the top four, that was a big moment for them, and obviously they're second now. They're probably going to get top three, top two this season again, but they got into the Champions League and they didn't do anything in it. They dropped back to the Europa League. So ultimately, who had a better season last season, Man United or Arsenal, who won the FA Cup? I would argue Arsenal, even though United won more games, finished in the top four. So yeah, I agree with that, dear Rav. Let's go into this press conference now, and I'm just going to try share my screen. It's the first time I'm doing this, so bear with me, guys. Let's see if this works. You can see my desktop. There we go. Right, we're in. Do send in your comments as always. Anything you want to ask, let's chat about it. Portal says, big up to my guy James. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And we're seeing a lot of that hashtag as well that Arsenal have been promoting. Stop online abuse. Hashtag stop online abuse. Yeah, absolutely. yeah, completely backing that. I mean, the fact that Arsenal Football Club have had to come out and do a campaign around that just shows you how serious this issue is. So, yeah, guys, do get your comments in. We're going to now chat about what Arteta's been saying about, about the players, about the kind of the state of the season. You know, we're in basically a situation where we have to beat Slavia Prague and we have to basically win the Europa League for this to be a successful campaign. So let's go into this first bit about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, he was asked about a lot of things. He was basically asked about whether winning the Europa League, is it all or nothing? Is it a successful season if we win, and if we don't, then it's a failure? And that's absolutely true. I think that's absolutely spot on. Chances of Champions League qualification via the Premier League are pretty much done. He's agreeing with that as well. Having a look, he was asked about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and the reason, this is a bit of a nothing quote. There's a reason I kind of wanted to chat about it. He was asked about Aubameyang, and he said, "We rely on every player in the squad to give their best, to give their maximum and perform on the pitch at the level that is required at this club." Now, the thing I found really interesting about that was Arteta sort of professes when he does these press conferences, when he talks to the media, to have sort of the highest standards for the club and for the players. And Aubameyang at the moment, and I'm going to back this guy. I believe he can get back to it. But at the moment, he's not playing at that level. And for the whole season, he's not played at that level. So if you look at this quote here where he says, you know, we rely, you know, that's a big word. We rely on every player. He's basically saying, like, ultimately, if the players aren't doing their bit, there's only so far we can go. So he's saying we rely on every player in the squad to give their best on the pitch, and perform on the pitch at the level that is required at this club. When you hear that, does that not make you think that Aubameyang is probably very close to being dropped? It does spark that question in my mind. Are we close to seeing Aubameyang finally being taken out of the 11? And I don't want to use the word dropped. It would be being dropped, but I'm going to use the word sort of rested, just give him some time away from the team to kind of gather his thoughts again, get his head straight and come back firing. I do think a big part of that is playing him up front. I think playing him on the left just doesn't do him justice. It's something I've actually wanted to see in the past, him playing out on the left, but clearly the way we're set up, the way we build up, Aubameyang is not suited to that. So yeah, I was clearly wrong. But we want to see him up front more. I thought that was really interesting that Arteta sort of, I'd say there's a quite, not spiky, but quite direct comments. And I think if he's going to be consistent, then Aubameyang really shouldn't be starting in the next game. Or I don't know. I mean, maybe some would argue that Lacazette's not really doing it. I think Lacazette's personally on better form. Let me know, guys. Let me know in the comments who would be your starting striker. Well, I take some other comments here. Eduardo says, if I should have got it here, James, do you think playing 3 at the back against Slavia with Saka at left wing back is our best choice? Yeah, we're going to chat about that in a bit. That's what I want to see as well, actually. I don't know if you go on social media, you can see what me, Robbie, Turkish, and Cecil all wanted as our starting 11s. So do go ahead and check that out. Let's take some other comments. What's everyone saying about their starting striker? Oh, here we go. Vijay adding a bit of context here. He said rely because the question was if we rely on Oba too much. I appreciate that, but this season we've not really relied on Aubameyang, and I think this is a pretty, not damning statement, but I think it's a pretty sort of hard-nailed statement, and I'd be interested to see if Arteta sort of follows on with it going into, you know, the lineup for Thursday and the lineup for the next couple of weeks. You know, if this is kind of, if he's talking about players playing at the required level, then Aubameyang's not, and you've got to wonder whether someone like Martinelli will get the chance or will get an opportunity. James McGeechee says Martinelli for sure has to start with Laka. I would like to see that. Jeffrey says, not starting is shooting ourselves in the foot. Interesting. I mean, the funny thing is about Aubameyang is he wasn't really at it really in the games leading up to Benfica, and then he scores 2 crucial goals in that game. I mean, that's kind of what you have him in the squad for. Let's move on. We'll move on to the next part. It'd be good to chat about Aubameyang, get your thoughts. Keep letting me know who you want starting. I'm seeing a few shouts for Oba. Martinelli's getting a lot of names. Do keep sending that through. Let's chat about Lucas Torreira, because he was asked about Lucas Torreira and whether the club have reached out to him. This is what he had to say. He said, of course, we've contacted him, we've spoken to him, and we know how difficult a time this is for him. He was really attached to his mum, he's really attached to his family. It's a hard time for him, and emotionally, there's a lot of thoughts that will go through his mind. When things are like that, it's not the moment to make decisions. Now, let me give you some context around this. So, RIP to Lucas Torres' mum, I believe she's called Viviana. Really sad. She lost her life to COVID-19. And, you know, you can imagine this has been a really difficult time for Lucas Torreira. And in an interview, or I'm not sure where he said, but some quotes emerged that he basically wants to move back to Boca Juniors. He wants to, well, not back, he wants to move to Boca Juniors. He wants to go back to playing football in South America, be close to his family. And look, it's not really worked for him in Europe, has it? I mean, well, in Italy it has, but at Arsenal in the Premier League, not so much. I still think he's a really good player, Torreira. I really like to keep him. I personally think he should be getting game time over El Neni and even Sabas right now. I don't think on his day he's necessarily worse than Xhaka. In fact, I think on his day he's a superb option, Torreira, but we've not seen that level of consistency. And I do think a big part of that was Unai Emery playing him as basically like a number 10 or like a box-to-box number 10 midfielder, and it just didn't work for me. And I think he's lost his confidence since then. And I've got to be honest, while I back Arteta, and I think he's going in the right direction with building our squad, I don't think he's really got it right with Carragher and his management of that player in particular. But he was sort of asked about Torreira's desire to return to South America. And he basically said, look, now's not the time to make any decisions about that. And obviously the club will address it. And I think that's going to be a very, very interesting situation for Arteta, for Arsenal, for Torreira. You know, we want to, what's the word? We want to grant Torreira's wishes, right? He seems a really good guy, and if he wants to move back to his family, we want to do what we can to help that. But at the same time, you know, it's a horrible word to say, but in kind of footballing terms, he's an asset, right? I mean, what's he worth? 10, 15, 20 million maybe on his day? And, you know, that's crucial to Arsenal right now. So it will be interesting to see if something gets agreed around that. But good to see that, you know, Arsenal and Arteta were asked about Lucas Torreira and their sort of stance in terms of helping him out, and that they reached out to him. And, you know, ultimately, you know, these guys are humans, right? And you want the club to be looking after them. So, yeah, you know, I'm sort of glad that was brought up in the press conference. What's everyone saying here? I'm seeing some shouts. I'm seeing the name Joel Lopez pop up. I think people are basically wondering whether he could basically step up as the left back from the under-23s to cover Kieran Tierney. That would be interesting. Juice World Tours, Pablo Mari should start at left back. I'm sure he's Jarl Purley. And JA.9 being very honest, saying he doesn't rate Arteta anymore. Look, I mean, we're not having a good season, so I'm not going to argue with anyone who's not, you know, feeling Arteta as a manager right now. But I'm going to say that, you know, I'm backing him still, and I do believe he can turn this around. Let's move on to the next set of things. So as I'm screen sharing here, it's all a little bit awkward, but there we are. We're in. So who's asked about Willian. Now, the reason I want to chat about this in particular was because call me crazy, but I'd rather see Willian starting on the left than Aubameyang right now. And that's not because I think Willian's a better player. And I think if you need a goal, you need something to happen. I think Aubameyang's much more likely to give you that than Willian. So it's nothing to do with that. It's more that I'm seeing the name Martinelli pop up here. Yeah, I'd rather see Martinelli on the left over all of them, even Smith Rowe. But interesting that he was asked about Willian, because Willian's missed a few games because of injury. Then we had the international break, and you know, in terms of a wide creator out on the left-hand side, that's absolutely what Willian does. He's asked about Willian in his first season and how the player's feeling about it. And he says, I think we can reach a high performance level because his potential is so big. Interesting, he said potential. I think he must mean potential to deliver because of what we've seen in the past. You know, I'm not sure Willian's going to get any better than what we've seen of him in a Chelsea shirt, what we've seen over the last couple of years. He said, it's true that in recent weeks, we've seen a much better version of him, and his contribution when he is playing has been really positive. So it's going to be crucial, his form for the performance of the team in the last 2 months. So basically, you know, he's a big believer that if Willian finds form and starts sort of playing his best football, it's going to be a massive asset for the team. And, you know, I'm inclined to agree with that to a degree, but I'm not pinning all my hopes on Willian. I'm sort of more hoping Martinelli gets game time. I'm hoping Saka stays fit. I'm hoping Aubameyang finds form. But, I sort of keep forgetting that if Willian does find form, that's an asset as well. Let's just take this from San Francisco Bank saying 3-4-3 is our best formation. Change my mind. I'm not going to try to change your mind. I agree with you. I also thought. I also think for the game coming up against Slavia Prague, that's our best formation. I don't think it's our best formation when everyone's fit, but I think for facing Slavia Prague and the options we've got and the injuries to Tierney and everything that Arteta's going to have to face, I actually do think 3 at the back is the best way to go. Chris Owen says Arteta clearly rates Willian. Wouldn't be surprised to see him involved. Neither would I. Due to World Tour again, saying Willian is better on the ball in possession than Aubameyang. I think that's true as well. Eduardo asked, what do you think about Nelson at right wing back? Yeah, interesting. But I mean, that means no Cedric at right wing back unless you're putting Cedric out there. So yeah, that maybe that'd be quite interesting. GB says go 3 at the back, Saka left wing back, Cedric right wing back. I'm all for that. What else have we got? Ikra asks, what system change did Arteta hint at? Don't worry, we're going to go into all that because I want to chat about this in good detail as well. So actually, that's probably a good time to move on. Bless. Guna Gossip TV. James, you're on best thing that's happened to AFTV. Thank you very much. By the way, go check out Guna Gossip TV, doing some great content. Just did a video on giving their thoughts around Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville in their comments. I want to touch on that as well. So thanks for the kind comments and definitely go check out Guna Gossip TV. Right, what else have we got? Nick says, it's my birthday today. Let me just pull up that comment. Happy birthday. Enjoy. I hope Arsenal give you a nice birthday win tomorrow. Right, let's move on to the next set of quotes. Talking about Kieran Tierney. Okay, so this is a bit of a worry. We're going to go into the main injury news a little bit later. We're going to cover it all, but let's start with Kieran Tierney. It looks like a handful of weeks out, basically 4 to 6 weeks. It's really disappointing. That covers pretty much all of the season. He might be back for the very last few games. A Europa League final, if we get there, he should be fit for. Turns out that he won't require surgery, and that basically it's an injury to his ankle that isn't as bad as it could have been. So that's obviously good news, but the bad news is that we are going to be missing Kieran Tierney for a bit. Such a shame that he played in a game that after we lost 3-0. Ultimately, where we are in the league sort of has no bearing on. We just don't have any. What are the chances we're really going to get top 6 or top 4 anywhere in the league? And we're missing him. And this is what he was when he was asked on whether we'll have to change how we build attacks. This goes back to the comment I just brought up. This is what he was asked on whether we'll have to change how we build attacks without Kieran Tierney. He said, yes, we're going to have to make some adjustments because his qualities are unique and we don't have anybody with his qualities within the squad unless we start to move a lot of pieces. I don't think it takes a genius to work out what he's talking about here. If you want that kind of pace and power and delivery down the left-hand side, who can somewhat replicate what Tierney does, all right, you bring in Bukayo Saka, you play him at left back. That's basically what you'd have to do. And he did very well in that position last season. But that would just be such a waste of what Saka's done so well out on the right wing. And also, I do understand that Saka perhaps maybe you can worry about him defensively. I think Saka's a very mature player, but I understand why you might not necessarily want him as your starting left back. Left back slightly different when you've got the 3 centre backs covering, and I think that might be the direction that that I want to go in, and a lot of Arsenal fans I've seen speaking about it, but maybe the direction that Arteta is now thinking about. He then went on to say, without any time to train, it is a little bit dangerous to do. He's basically talking about the formation change here. We're going to have to find different ways to fulfill that gap and use other things that can be as effective as well. That's let me just move on a little bit actually with this sort of discussion. He was then asked on whether he considers using Bukayo Saka as left back, or if he worries that it can unbalance other areas of the team. He says that's the reality. You have to change something. You have to find a different way of attacking. At the same time, the structure when you're defending and in transitional moments has to be able to be players that are comfortable doing that. Look, he clearly understands that we're going to have to find a different way now, that Tierney. It's not a case of bringing a like for like and then go do the same thing. We're going to have to approach it in a different way. Now, Off the top of my head, a couple of things we could do. The back three. The back three where I would basically have Mari, Gabriel, and Chambers. I'd have that as my back three with Mari as the left centre-back, almost covering and building from deep, a bit like the bit in the areas that Granit Xhaka was getting the ball in when he comes out to left centre-back. You know, when sort of Partey holds the middle on his own and Xhaka's moving out there, have Mari do that, get Xhaka to hold a more central area with Partey, and then have Saka bombing on and holding the width out on the left, and Cedric doing the same out the right. That's one way you could go. The other, I was watching Man City last night, and I know we're nowhere near as good as City, don't get me wrong. But if you look at João Cancelo, who's playing as the left back, he was very much playing as the inverted left back, sort of coming into midfield, almost him and Walker forming a shield in front of the centre-backs, along with Rodri and Fernandinho. I kind of wonder whether maybe he'll get Cedric to do that, and then have Pepe or Tierney out on the left wing where they can hold the width with their left foot. Not Pepe or Tierney, Pepe or Saka. Wouldn't surprise me to see that either. I don't know. There are solutions. I know a lot of people saying, you know, Tierney's injured, he's out, that's our season over. I don't think it's our season over. It's one position. And I don't think, by the way, that we've even seen the best of Tierney for a while. I thought he was very good in the North London derby, got that goal against Benfica. But I don't think we've seen an outstanding Kieran Tierney, you know, over 5, 6, 7 games for a while. Not really since that sort of December to February run. So, look, I don't think this is season over, but I appreciate it. It is damning news. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what he goes with. But you know what, this is probably a good time to take some comments. What would your solutions be to, you know, this injury we've got for Kieran Tierney? I'm just going to have a little look through the comments now. Nick says, check out my last super chat. Maybe a Tierney solution. Sorry, Nick, I'm going to have a little look for that. Apologies if I missed it. If not, send it through, not as a super chat, and I'll try to bring it up. Arsenal fan says, the way Martinelli is being treated is disgusting. If Martinelli leaves this club, I'll never forgive Arteta. I don't know if it's disgusting. I think he's just trying to ease him in, but I do agree that he deserves more game time. We've got another super chat here, if I can just find it. Imran says, sorry, Imran, I'm going to try. If I can bring it up, I can, but I'm reading it here. James, if there's a change, I'd go 3-4-1-2. Based on the injury news, I'd pick Chambers, Mari, Gabriel, all for that. Cedric, Xhaka, Partey, Saka. Yep, that's me. Smith Rowe as the 10. Aubameyang and Martinelli up top. Ooh, that'd be pretty electric, wouldn't it? I wouldn't mind seeing that. I would not mind seeing that. What else have we got? Lucky Luciano says, Aubameyang left wing, Martinelli is a striker, Saka right wing. Someone made a great point that Aubameyang and Martinelli would be interesting because they could alternate quite well and maybe get a degree of unpredictability. I'd quite like to see that, actually. That would be, yeah, that wouldn't be bad, to be fair. What else have we got? A few people agreeing with Imran. Tan the Music Man says, Granit at left back, lol. He's played there under Emery, to be fair. He did all right, actually. Right, let me take maybe 1 or 2 more comments. Arsenal fan again. Arsenal fans not happy. Oba offers nothing on the left. He hasn't recently, it's fair to say. Shall I take 1 more comment before we move on to the next bit? Ian Pearce says, sorry, don't agree. Progress is measured by league form, not cup results. He has to go in the summer. So this is Ian talking about what I said about trophies. Yeah, you raise an interesting point here, Ian. I'm not going to argue with you. If you're measuring progress, I do think league position plays a big part. Like, trophies isn't everything, of course. Wigan won the FA Cup and got relegated. You know, so I understand. I'm not saying it shows progress. I'm just talking about who had a better season. And ultimately, you do look back on the silverware. When I look back at last season, my first thought is FA Cup. It's not 8th. And that's significant. You know, the FA Cup and the trophies will always mean something. So, but you make a good point. You make a good point there, and I do agree with that. Keep getting your comments, guys. We're going to go for another 6 minutes or so. We're going to look at the next set of comments from Arteta, and then we're going to talk about team news as well. Arteta replied to Neville's comments. I thought this was interesting. For anyone who didn't watch Monday Night Football, I don't know, obviously, where you guys are all tuning in from. But here in the UK, Sky Sports do a great show with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, Monday Night Football. They do analysis. And I've got to say, one of my favourite shows, and they really did inspire me in this. Anyone who watches kind of me regularly on AFTV will know I love my stats and I love my sort of punditry to a degree. It's definitely something I want to pursue here at AFTV, and it's definitely something I want to practice more. And I do think those two are the absolute best at it. I love watching them, but I've got to say I didn't quite agree with their comments on Arsenal in the Liverpool game. And basically Gary Neville said he thinks there's a real attitude problem. He thinks there might be a disconnect. He says he's not sure, but he can sense something. He thinks there's a bit of a disconnect between the front line of players, Pepe, Lacazette, Aubameyang, and maybe others. He called it a little mafia, actually. Whether he was talking about the front three or not, but I think he was alluding to them. And he basically said there's a disconnect between them and the manager. Now, I didn't get that impression. I've seen moments in the season where we've seen players not look happy, or you just hear of bust ups, or you hear that you just see players' body language don't look happy, and you can kind of sense that as a fan. I didn't really get that from Liverpool's performance. I got more, how do I put it? Just that we got it tactically wrong. Arteta got it wrong, and the attitude wasn't there, but more because the players just kind of had an off day, rather than, I say an off day, we've had a lot of these this season, but more. Basically, I don't think it was a attitude thing in terms of attitude against the manager, as it was just an attitude in terms of not having the right mindset for this game and maybe underestimating Liverpool. Asked about comments, or Neville's comments, he says, listen, I don't read or listen. Obviously, I need to be aware of what has been said. The only thing I'm saying is where there is the one from Gary or Jamie, whoever is talking about us, after the performance that we had against Liverpool, we have to be mute and we have to perform. That is the only thing that we have to do. And I think he's spot on there. Like, we can all come out and say things. We've seen players apologise after red cards, and we've seen Arteta obviously always say the right things in press conferences and stuff. But we just need to see results. We need to see a degree of consistency. And there's no better time in the league or in the season now to deliver that. This is his opportunity. This is a really big chance to end the season on a high. We can still get top 6, top 7. That's not where we want to be as a club, but it would signify some small, very forced bit of improvement. I'm not saying it's good enough. We can still beat last season's point tally. That's crucial. We can still come very close to the point tally where we finished 6th under Wenger the year he left. And I'm not saying this is good enough. I'm really not. But I'm saying that we can just start by doing something that will claw us back towards something that feels not acceptable, but stomachable, right? And I just think finishing 10th isn't good enough. We've got the opportunity to win the Europa League. So I think he's right. Just enough talking. Just go do it on the pitch. And that's the same for, look, I love seeing the players on Instagram and stuff. I love that. But we're not laughing with them when we lose these games. That's the thing. So just go deliver. And trust me, we'll be there laughing with you, honestly. Leo Messi surfing in sneakers. It's quite a name. James, let's be real. The board, Arteta, and half the squad need to go. I think a lot of that's true. I don't think all of that's true. But thank you for the comment. Someone asks, is that Mike Dean in the picture? No, I don't think it is. Let's go. Kanya says, this guy's too optimistic. There's the comment. I know I am. I'm sorry. I've got to try to be. I've got to try and have something to look forward to. Otherwise, what are we doing this for? I'm a supporter. I'm trying to believe that Arsenal will do something this season, no matter how much they let me down. I want to believe that they can do something this season. And by the way, it's actually fact that they can do something this season. Whether they will or won't is another question. Nick says here, it's all good, James. I said how about I miss your super chat. Sorry, thanks, Nick. It's all good, James. I said about a 4-3-3 with Partey, Smith Rowe, and Odegaard in midfield with Chambers or Xhaka maybe at left back being inverted, covering in midfield with Partey, with Saka and Pepe on the left, holding width. Right. I like that. And I don't think it's been no offense, I think because it's a long comment. I don't think I've read that out brilliantly, but I really like that, Nick. I get what you're going for here. Essentially, if you have like a 4, a 3, and a 3, what you're basically saying is your front three, the wingers are really wide, If you can see me here, I'm sort of trying to illustrate it. Odegaard and Smith Rowe sort of step up, and then you basically got Partey sitting on his own. So Chambers and Xhaka come in and play as the inverted wing backs. You've almost got like a 2 centre backs, 3 of your fullbacks and Partey, and then you've got almost like a front 5. I get that. I quite like it as well. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. That's very Man City-esque. I think that would be quite good. Wow, we've been going for half an hour already. Time absolutely flies. Thank you to Goon and Gossip TV, Sophie is her name, for saying that it's good that I'm positive. I appreciate that a lot. Let's go into I love this from Dan Williams. Sorry, I'm just bring it up. Keep all the kids and sell everyone older than Pepe. I mean, I'm not sure I agree completely with that, but I do want to keep the kids and give them more of a chance. Right, let's go into sort of the last bit, which I believe is team news. So let's go into this a bit more detail. I can't believe we've been going half an hour already. I would normally stop around the half-hour mark. I'll go on another 5 minutes just because we've not done these lives in a while. It's been great interacting with you guys. So, really appreciate you guys joining in. Let's have a look at the injury. So out for sure, Kieran Tierney and Louise. Neither are particularly long term. It could be back, or they are expected to be back within about a month, perhaps a little bit longer than a month. So those are kind of the only long term injuries there. Unconfirmed is Smith Rowe, Xhaka, Saka, and Odegaard. Now I'm going to leave Odegaard for a second and touch on Smith Rowe, Xhaka, and Saka, who all missed the last game, but they were back in full training. The Arsenal website says they are available for selection, but Arteta's basically said in his press conference that they're going to just take a look at that situation. They're going to see how they felt after today. I think all 3 will be starting, actually. I think this game is crucial. This game is absolutely crucial. And the funny thing is, if we beat Liverpool on the weekend, we would have been 6 points off top 4. And then West Ham won, so 7. But the point is, we'd have been, yes, it would have needed a miracle, but there would have been something actually worth fighting for in the league. But because we keep disappointing in the Premier League, there's basically nothing really to fight for there. And I think Smith Rowe, Xhaka, and Saka will all play. And then Martin Odegaard, he's still sort of trying to power through that injury he picked up on international duty, the ankle problem, I think it was. It's unconfirmed whether he's going to play and whether he's available. So that they're going to judge that as soon as possible. I imagine in the coming days, see how he is after training today and probably make a decision on the day tomorrow. I actually think we need all 4 of them playing, quite frankly. I think we need them all starting. And I think Louise and Tierney are going to be a big miss. But as we discussed here, there is a way to rectify that. So, right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hey, I'm back. I'm going to take a couple more comments and then we'll round off. Alim asking, James, could you guys do a keep, sell, or undecided show soon? Yeah, that'd be good. I think Cecil would really like to do something like that. So, yeah, I'll definitely pitch that to the team. But I'm sure we'll do something like that, if not nearer the transfer window at the end of the season. But yeah, good, definitely a good idea. Something we'll do. What else have we got? EFTV Media says, how about Pepe at left back? Do you know what? You're going to call me mad, right? I've thought that this wouldn't. Watch one of our we did a build-up show, me and Cecil, months back, and Tierney was out at the time, and I said, "What about Pepe at left back?" And I think I was a bit lightheaded that day, but he's left-footed, he's powerful, he's got great delivery. Why not? The problem is that I don't know if you can trust him defensively. You probably wouldn't enjoy it as well. He does get goals and assists. You wouldn't want to take him from that part of the field. But what I'm trying to say, it's not the worst suggestion I've ever seen. We've got a super chat from Amir Nail says, the injuries wouldn't be such a problem if players like Sabas, Pepe, and Willian perform at a higher standard. I completely and utterly agree with that. The players who were meant to step in, did their job. I agree. It wouldn't be so much of a problem. Chambers is inverted right back. He ain't that good on the ball, I think. I think he's all right on the ball, but I get what you mean. Maitland-Niles, when he was playing as the inverted right back, I thought did a good job there. And then Jake says Saka should play left back on Thursday. And then the real captain putting me in my place. Hell no, James, not Pepe at left back. I think that's fair enough. £75 million left back, no chance. I think I've ruffled a few. What you smoking, Harry Potter? I just don't think it's the worst option. If you want to hold your weight, then you want to get someone bombing it down that line. Look, a lot of a lot of wingers have made great fullbacks. You know, Antonio Valencia, who was doing a job for many years as a right winger for Man United, went back to right back. Ashley Young. Look at Lucas Vazquez the other day for Real Madrid. I've heard worse things, is all I'm saying, but I'm sure this will be clipped up and used against me one day. Anyway, guys, it's actually, you know, it's been really fun to be back chatting about Arteta's press conference, what's been said. Go watch it on YouTube. Go check out on the Arsenal website. I've not covered everything just because I don't have all the time in the world. He's chatted about other things, about that Liverpool performance, about the response. Obviously, he goes into a bit more detail about the injury. Talks about Slavia Prague as well. And we're going to obviously cover that on the build-up, me and Cecil. And Turkish done a great interview with a European football expert. Go check that out, talking about Slavia Prague. I watched that today and I thought, you know what, like, I was learning a lot. Apparently, they're a brave team. They're very high press. They will make it difficult for us. So, yeah, tomorrow's huge, guys. But it's been really, really fun. Thank you for joining. And we'll see you for all the content coming out tomorrow on match day. And, oh, my God, let's get through because a European semi-final would be exciting. Can you imagine if we played... Can you imagine if we met Unai Emery for Villarreal? I mean, that would be a story. Anyway, thanks for joining. I'll see you on the next one.
This is AFTV VIP, the official web app with members-only content, has no ads and a live in-game match centre. The bias predictor, it has daily polls and the AFTV 11 selector. Just one click away.